Good morning to everyone. Good afternoon. So glad you all could all tune in for our first DLC workshop. Let's introduce our honorary committee member, Christopher Salem, the founder and CEO of CSR Group Holdings. He's an executive mentor and the one who coined the term Prospreneur. He is also an award-winning author, a corporate trainer, and the co-founder and CEO of Empowered Others in Action. He created the independent work environment through a growth mindset methodology through the transparent and effective communication practices. We are super excited to get an expert insight into the topic, the 8 pillars of wellness of extraordinary leadership, something that is essential in today's day and age. Let's hear from the man himself, mastering the art of success through his unique Prospreneur training, Christopher.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, everyone. Thank you for those, wherever you are in the world, to be here. And I know the people here in the U.S., it is quite early. I know some of the West Coast people are probably still sleeping, but you can catch this workshop here later today. I'm so excited to be sharing with you today about the 8 pillars of wellness and how that impacts how we lead in our businesses, how we lead in our lives, how we lead in our relationships, and so on. And as part of the Della Leaders Club New York City chapter, it is an honor to be here today to be sharing with you this information. So we're going to get started here, and we're going to be talking about the 8 pillars of wellness. And I would like that if anybody in the chat box, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We're going to leave some time on the back end as well that we'll answer any questions, but I'll be asking for participation throughout this session because we learn from one another. That way, when you volunteer, again, I'm not going to mention your name. No one will know where it came from. I'm just going to mention what was stated because not only are you going to help yourself, but you're going to help other people that are on the live workshop here and those that will be listening later. So we're going to get started here. We're going to get right into the presentation, and we're going to talk about the 8 pillars of wellness for extraordinary leaders. All right, let's see if we got the presentation coming up. Here we are. There we go. Perfect. All right. So here we are. We got the 8 pillars of wellness for extraordinary leaders. All right. So here's going to be some of the learning objectives that we are going to cover during this particular hour and a half that we'll be together. We're going to talk about what are the 8 pillars of wellness. Now, the 8 pillars of wellness have been around for quite some time, but many people throughout the world are unfamiliar with it and how powerful that when in alignment, how these 8 pillars of wellness can really transform everything that you do as a leader in your business, in your communities, in the world, in your families, whatever that may be. So we're going to talk about what each of them are and how that you can lead from example in a better way through work-life harmony. We're going to also discuss how mental toughness plays an important role as the foundation to facilitate that alignment with the 8 pillars of wellness to transform you into an extraordinary leader. And we'll discuss how it impacts different leadership styles, whatever that you may use in your everyday life, in business, and in your personal life. And we're going to talk about how effective it can be when you're looking to build an interdependent environment with the leadership style that resonates in your business. And then finally, we're going to look at the blueprint and the magic of creating a daily routine with accountability and how this can really keep that harmony with the 8 pillars of wellness to take your leadership to a whole new level. So this is just a little information about me, where this information is coming from. I've spent now the last 23 years dedicated to immersing myself into the growth mindset as well as mental toughness and core values as the foundation of effective and extraordinary leadership. I work with corporations and individuals in helping to raise their influence and leadership capabilities to take their businesses to a whole new level. And this is something that I am dedicated to and will spend the rest of my life immersed in this area, becoming a student always and being a teacher by example to share the information that I will be doing today. So before we start about talking about the 8 pillars of wellness, I'd like to talk about what is mental toughness. What would mental toughness mean to you? If you'd like to put that in the chat box, I'd like you to either write it down for yourself or put it into the chat box. Somebody says to work consistently through tough and challenging problems. Yeah, so that would be resilience. Great. Let's see if we have one more and then we'll move on. So let's see if we got one more that comes in. We're going to talk about how problems and challenges are a good thing when it comes to leadership. We have somebody else says, handling the toughest situation with calmness. Yeah, being present in the moment. So true. So thank you for those. And somebody else came in, ability to stand in adverse situations while one is working on their goals. Wonderful. And somebody says, and not like Will Smith at the Oscars. That's absolutely. That was not a demonstration. That was a lack of emotional intelligence there. So when you look at this particular definition as defined by the Oxford Dictionary, in this case, oxfordreference.com, what I'd like you to do is read that for about 20 seconds. Take a look at that. And when you do, I'd like you to write down or put into the chat box what word or statement stands out for you. So a statement can be like, the ability to control emotions. That would be an example of a statement. So what word or a statement stands out for you in this definition? All right, somebody says difficult to read. Yeah, it might be a little hard because of yeah. So let me read it to you. A quality of mind or intellect characterized by, among other things, as a refusal to be intimidated, a determination to finish a contest even when things are going badly, and an ability to control emotions and remain highly focused when under the pressure of intense competition. Compare physical toughness. So when you think about that, do the best you can if you can see it and see what stands out for you. We'll just see if we could take one person to see if they can put down what stands out for them. So we got a couple things here where we have an ability to control emotion. We have, let's see here, a refusal to be intimidated, to be focused under pressure. Okay, great. So when you think about some of those statements that were just read off, what would be the foundation to those statements? So it's right in that statement. It's quality of mind. Absolutely. Great. Thank you for sharing. So it is a quality of mind, because without a quality of mind, how can we be able to do the things that are listed in that definition? Think about a house. If you're going to build a beautiful home, and this home is your dream home, if you have a faulty foundation or you haven't taken the time to nurture and cultivate that foundation, what do you think is going to happen to that house? Yeah, that house is going to have some problems. It's going to have some issues going forward. It's not going to have any legs to stand on, so to speak. So how can we properly frame it and then build around it and then put the things that are going to make that home inviting to live in each and every day? So it's very important that we take time to nurture that foundation. And the same thing would be said for your mind, your quality of mind. And we're going to discuss a little bit about that. So let's take a look at some of the principles of mental toughness. But before we do, I want to discuss that when it comes to the mindset, we're going to discuss two different types of mindset. One is a fixed mindset. 99% of the population operates from a fixed mindset. You wake up and you do what you do. What we don't realize is that most of the things that we do each and every day, whether if they service or not, are being operated by your subconscious or unconscious mindset, not from your conscious mindset. So the question comes down to, is what you're doing each and every day or wherever you are in your life, is it serving you or not? If you're not where you desire to be, or your confidence isn't where you desire to be, you haven't accomplished certain things in your career or certain things that are important in your life, this could be, then you could look back and say that you're operating from a fixed mindset. See, a fixed mindset operates in the past and the future. It's triggered by fear from a situation. So when you have a situation that triggers fear, the body first responds with stress. You feel a level of worry, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, frustrated. That could lead to anger over time or depression long term. See, when we operate from, when something's triggered by fear from a fixed mindset, It's going all the way back to your childhood, during your child development years, attaching itself to a limiting belief or beliefs. It gets projected and simultaneously into the future, which is then telling your inner critic that you're not capable of something, you're not deserving of something. If they only knew that I don't know certain things, they may not have hired me for this position. They wouldn't think that I'm the leader that I'm supposed to be. But with that being said, these are things that impact each and every one of us. But it's always a choice to know that, do we choose to operate from the fixed mindset or what we call a growth mindset? So again, the fixed mindset operates in the past and the future from limiting beliefs that are triggered by situations that give you, fear, that you react to situations. And now you're making decisions, you're communicating, you're not taking risk, or you're not following through because of that mindset that you're in and coming from limiting beliefs. See, a growth mindset operates from mental toughness. Now we're going to get into. And mental toughness through a growth mindset operates in the present moment. See, in the present moment, fear cannot reside, or it's reduced to a small level. So it's reduced to a level where actually the fear is actually a good thing on a smaller level, which will drive you to go through a certain situation, which we call resilience or grit. And with that, you're able to, see things as happening for you and not to you. So we're going to cover that here in a little bit. So a growth mindset operates in the present moment. A fixed mindset operates in the past and the future. Now let's take a look at some of these principles of mental toughness. Would it be safe to say when something triggers fear and we feel pressure, what is it normally what people do when they feel pressure? What is it that people usually do? Think about that when they feel pressure. And this can be for yourself as well. I know for me firsthand, 23 years ago, I operated my entire life in a fight or flight state. I constantly was operating from fear. I was in the past and the future, operating from my limiting beliefs. The biggest one being the requirement for validation, because I didn't get it growing up from my father. So I always seek it out in other people. And that led me down a path of codependency where I was passive and aggressive with my behavior and communication. Passive meaning I would go out of my way to please and enable people, because if I did, you would validate me. But the reality is that the validation was never enough. And then I could become aggressive and demand certain things from people that were unrealistic expectations, that when they went unfulfilled, I would get angry at people, then act out of emotion or say things out of emotion. Very similar to what Will Smith did at the Oscars with Chris Rock, just acting out of a negative emotion. So with that being said, we're all human, but I'm sharing this with you today as to be an extraordinary leader. It's very important that we be mindful of these principles. See, instead of avoiding pressure or resisting change or the pressure to change or going around it, that we embrace it. Yes, I'm saying you embrace it. You embrace it with open arms. You welcome the challenge, because without a challenge or pressure, that is not going to allow us to be, then to become, and then to do and have better results in a different way. So you can see, if we think in a different way from a growth mindset through mental toughness, we can be, to become, to do, and have better results long term. Does that mean everything is going to go great? No, you're probably going to have more setbacks and challenges, but you're not going to see it that way. You're going to see it as happening for you, not to you. You're going to see the opportunities and blessings disguised in the pressure. Now, it's also the ability to master, when we compartmentalize things. So let's talk about that, because this is very, very important. See, there's certain things in the world and in our business or anything in your personal life that we can control. And there are things that are beyond our control.